Hi, hello everyone. Good morning, dear young minds. Welcome back to biology session. Hope all of you doing good. Prepare well. This is climax stage. Today our target transport in plants from plant physiology. First PUC. This chapter has good weightage, and I am expecting minimum 2 questions and maximum 3 questions from this chapter. Okay. First, Melvin Kelvin, scientist introduction. Melvin Kelvin, an American scientist. Sometimes question paper setter prepare questions from scientist biography, introduction of scientist. So don't do neglect scientist introduction. So scientist inventions, discoveries, awards, rewards, everything important. Melvin Kelvin, an American scientist, performed experiments on C3 plants after Second World War. Kelvin and their co-workers used C14, carbon 14. They used carbon 14 in chlorella algae. Therefore, they studied C3 cycle. C3 cycle also called Kelvin cycle. Okay, therefore they given Nobel Prize. Next, come back to main concept, means of transport. What is transport? A system which translocates substances like water, minerals, nutrients, food, phytohormones from one cell to another cell or cell to cell within the cell, organ to organ and total organism. That is called transport, because transport system play a crucial role in translocation of different substances from cell to cell, tissue to tissues, organs to organs, and finally complete organism. Okay, that is called transport system. Transport system include complex tissues like xylem tissues and phloem tissues. We will discuss step by step all these things. Transport broadly are of two kinds. SDT, short distance transport. I wrote short form, try to understand. Short distance transport and a long distance transport. Short distance transport again are of two kinds. Diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion again are of three kinds. Simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and active transport. Okay. Short distance transport again are of three kinds. Two kinds, diffusion and osmosis. First, diffusion. What is diffusion? A process of transfer of substances, either solids, liquids or gases, from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration along concentration gradient is called diffusion. It is again are of three kinds: simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and active transport. First one, simple diffusion. Simple diffusion takes place through cell membrane. Right? Go through rough diagram. Cell membrane, as all of you know, cell membrane is made up of phospholipids and proteins. It is bilipid layer. Bilipid layer is made up of several phospholipids, several types of phospholipids. Channels. Yes. Simple diffusion. Substances which are dissolved in phospholipid layer, those substances easily move across membrane without requirement of metabolic energy in the form of ATP. That is called simple diffusion. These are substances easily move across membrane without requirement of ATP. That is called simple diffusion. Second one, facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion. It requires channels. Channel means proteins. Some proteins, actually cell membrane has two types of proteins. Intrinsic proteins, extrinsic proteins. Intrinsic proteins also called integral proteins. Extrinsic proteins also called peripheral proteins. Peripheral proteins provide physical support to the cell membrane, whereas integral proteins means intrinsic proteins acts as channels for the movement of substances across membrane out to inside or into outside. Substances which are not dissolved in bilipid layer, those substances move across membrane through special pathway, that is called channel. Channel a protein. Therefore, substances move across membrane. Channels translocate highly specified substances. That's it. Next, active transport. Before that, facilitated diffusion also passive process. It doesn't require any metabolic energy in the form of ATP. Next, active transport. Active transport require energy in the form of ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Some ions move across membrane through special proteins that are called pumps. First, best example, calcium ions, sodium ions, potassium ions, chloride ions, calcium ions. These types of ions move across membrane through special proteins called pumps. First, they bind with the protein, and the protein rotate and change their direction, release ions into the cell. Again, go back to original phase. Once repeat, how calcium, potassium, chloride ions move across membrane means through special membrane proteins called pumps. First, these types of ions binds with the protein, then protein rotate, change their direction, release ions into the cell. Again, go back to their original shape. This process occurs continuously. In such a way, movement of ions takes place across membrane through pumps. That is called active transport. Active transport requires metabolic energy in the form of ATP. Hence, it is called active transport. But simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion, these two are passive process. They doesn't require any metabolic energy in the form of ATP. That is about diffusion. Okay, diffusion takes place within the cell, inside the cell to cell, or tissues to tissues. It is very slower process, passive process, does not require any energy in the form of ATP. That's it. Next, osmosis. Osmosis defined as movement of substances from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. The region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration against concentration gradient. That is called osmosis. Actually, osmosis has two types of definitions. One for ions, another for water. In case of ions, movement of ions takes place from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration against concentration gradient. That is called osmosis. Next, in case of water, one more definition is there about osmosis. Movement of water takes place from the region of higher water potential to the region of lower water potential along gradient, along concentration gradient. That is also called osmosis. Remember two definitions along with examples. You don't confuse here. Right. Next, osmosis. The mechanism of osmosis is explained through two experiments. Potato spindle tuber experiment, and a thistle funnel experiment. These two experiments given in NCERT. Read paragraph lines thoroughly, then observe diagrammatic representation, followed by practice objective questions. That's it. Next, LDT, long distance transport. Long distance transport usually takes place by transpiration pull, because diffusion and osmosis are applicable for shorter distances, only over shorter distances, but not for longer distances. But how bulk amount of water, minerals, nutrients, amino acids, phytohormones and food translocate from one place to another place in tall trees means that is possible through long distance transport. Particularly transpiration pull play a crucial role, a pivotal role in translocation of all the substances towards over several hundred meters height. Okay, that's it. All of you concentrate this area of the difference between diffusion and osmosis. Okay, therefore osmosis also a type of diffusion. Even plant root system absorb water and minerals based on diffusion. Okay, right. Upper lipid layer, lower lipid layer, together called bilipid layer. It is also called phospholipid. Okay, first phospholipid, second phospholipid, etc. Each phospholipid has two parts, head and tail. Head has polarity, it is hydrophilic in nature, whereas tail is deeply seated inside the membrane. It does not have polarity, hence it is hydrophobic in nature. That's it. Okay. Next, go through uniport, symport and antiport. NCERT book concepts: uniport, antiport and symport. Uniport, antiport and symport. It is also a best example of facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion. Shortly called FD, facilitated diffusion. Uniport. Movement of only one type of substance, move across membrane. That is called uniport. Antiport, movement of two different types of substances or molecules. Suppose A molecule and B molecule. A molecule and B molecule. Two different types of molecules at a time move across membrane in different directions, means opposite directions. Observe arrow mark carefully. Opposite directions in the same time period, that is called antiport. Clear? Next, symport. A process of movement of substances. Two different substances, A substance and B substance, at a time move across membrane in same direction, called symport. Okay, very important. Uniport means only one type of substances move across membrane in same direction, each time only one molecule, called uniport. Antiport means two different types of substances or molecules at a time move across membrane in opposite direction, called antiport. Whereas symport, it is referred to two different substances like A and B substances at a time move across membrane in the same direction, that is known as symport. These are the best examples of facilitated diffusion, shortly called FD. Understood? Inside book concepts. And here antiport and symport are the examples of active transport. Active transport, because they require energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. But uniport, it is passive transport. It doesn't require energy. Okay, that's all. Very important for object exams, NEET and SET exams. Clear? Next. In NCERT book, one box point given, comparison between simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion and active transport. Very important. Character. Name of the character. A simple comparison between simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion and active transport inside book concepts. You have to practice this box point, very important. Suppose requirement of, first point, requirement of special membrane proteins. Requirement of special membrane proteins. It is not applicable for simple diffusion and simple diffusion. It is applicable for facilitated diffusion and active transport. Okay, next. Energy. Requirement of energy. No. Yes. Transport saturates. I wrote short form. Try to understand. Transport saturates are not required for simple diffusion, but required for facilitated diffusion and active transport. Like this, one box point given in NCERT. All of you study carefully. NCERT book box point. I am expecting one question compulsorily from box point. This is comparison between simple diffusion, first aid diffusion, and active transport. Requirement of special membrane proteins are not required for simple diffusion. It doesn't require any membrane proteins, but phase rate diffusion required. Active transport also required. Requirement of ATP energy. It is not applicable for simple diffusion and phase rate diffusion because these two are passive process. They won't require energy, but active process require energy. Transport saturates, not required for simple diffusion but required for phase rate diffusion and active transport. This box point very important. I wrote just 3 characters. Actually 5 characters are there. You have to read rest of the characters. Right? Next, plant water relations. Plant and water relations. Plant and water relations. The general concept, as all of you know, water is essential for all living organisms. Without water, no living organism exists their life on the earth. Whether it is plant, animal or microbe, whatever it may be, it requires water. Suppose percentage of water in watermelon. In watermelon, 92%, and the percentage of water in herbaceous plants means herbs. Herbs means small plants. Herbaceous plants 10 to 15% dry matter and 85 to 90% wet matter. Wet matter. 2 examples. NCERT book examples. The percentage of water available in watermelon 92%, and the percentage of water in herbaceous plants. Herbs means herbaceous plants, small plants. Small plants has 10 to 15% as dry matter. As that means 10 to 15% of fresh weight as dry matter. Rest of the 85 to 90% is wet matter. So total mainly plant body is made up of water. Okay. Even in case of cell, 85 to 90% is water. Rest of the 10% cell organelles. So cell, tissues, organs, organ systems, and finally total organism basically made up of water. Without water, no cell and no living organism perform their regular metabolic activities. Clear? Okay. And water are of various kinds. Hygroscopic water, gravitational water, Pollard, Cressard, Eckhart, okay, capillary water. Several terminology is there. This is general concept. You roughly go through once plant and water relationships. Dry matter. Very easy concept, right? Next, water potential. Water potential. What is water potential? Free energy of water molecule is called water potential. Free energy of water molecule is known as water potential. The term water potential is denoted by psi W. Psi W. Okay. Free energy of water molecule is high in solvent. Okay, solvent, solution, solvent, solute, and solution. Three terms are there. Three terms, their meaning important. Solvent means pure water. The rate of water potential is maximum in solvent or pure water. Maximum how much? 0. 0 is positive value. Yes or no? So the maximum water potential rate is 0. It is maximum in solvent, means pure water. Solute means a substance which dissolves in water called solute. In the combination of solvent and solute equals to solution. Rate of water potential is always negative in solution, but positive in solvent. Okay. Water potential psi W equals to psi S plus psi P. Bond formula. This formula explains association between water potential, solute potential and pressure potential. Okay. Solute potential always negative. It is always negative. But solute potential is positive in solvent, because in solvent where is solute? No solute. Therefore psi S value always positive in solution, always negative in solution, but positive in solvent. These are all fundamental points, basic points, gunshot points. Remember, understand carefully, you don't confuse. And pressure potential. Pressure potential also called Turger pressure, TP. Turger pressure. Pressure potential mostly positive, rarely negative. Mostly positive and rarely negative. Rarely negative in xylem vessels. Xylem vessels. Because xylem vessels are dead. They lack protoplasm. Due to lack of protoplasm, they became dead. Hence, in xylem vessels, pressure potential value always negative. Except xylem vessels and xylem tracheids, rest of the all other living tissues, pressure potential value mostly positive. Remember, don't confuse. Okay. Yeah. Go through simple examples. Suppose in plasmolized cell, psi P value 0, psi S value negative, hence psi W equals to -7. Plasmolized cell means shrunken cell. You know what is the meaning of plasmolized cell? Take one beaker with hypertonic solution and select any plant cell, place in hypertonic solution. What happened? Cell lost its water. Movement of water takes place from cell to beaker according to osmosis definition. What is definition? Movement of water takes place from the region of higher water potential to the region of lower water potential. That is called osmosis. Suppose it is beaker. It is plant cell. Hypertonic solution. The movement of water takes place from cell to beaker. Yes or no? Solution has low water potential, but the cell cytoplasm has high water potential. Hence, according to osmosis definition, movement of water takes place from the region of higher water potential to the region of lower water potential. that result in plasmolysis, means shrunken cell. In shrunken cell, pressure potential 0, no pressure, so 0. Psi S value always negative. I told clearly, psi S value always negative except in solvent. In solvents, psi S value, that means the solute potential value, positive. In rest of the all cases, negative. Hence, psi S value negative. Psi W value also negative, because minus 7. Hence, psi W equals psi S. Water potential is equals to solute potential in plasmalogical cell. Therefore, psi W value always negative in plasmalogical cell. Clear? Okay. Next, another example. Take one beaker. Place, take one raisin, dry grape. Place in beaker. And beaker fill with hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution. Then what happened? The rate of water potential is high in hypotonic solution, means low concentrated solution. But the amount of water is very low in raisin. According to osmosis principle, movement of water takes place from beaker to raisin. Raisin means dry grape. Then what happened? Due to continuous accumulation of water, beaker to raisin bulged in size, turgid. That is called turgid raisin. In turgid raisin, pressure potential positive, okay, and solute potential negative. Therefore, psi W 0. Clear? Psi P value positive, because it is turgid cell. In turgid cell, pressure potential high, so positive value. Psi P 7 positive, psi S negative. Here I written approximate value for your clear understands. So psi S value always negative. Plus value, minus value cancelled. Therefore, psi W is 0 in turgid cell. Hope you understood. Are you getting my point? Okay. Next, another concept. Take one beaker. And select one flaccid cell. Flaccid means normal cell. And beaker, it is filled with isotonic solution. Isotonic solution. Then what happened? No movement of substance, no movement of water takes place, cell to beaker or beaker to cell, vice versa. Okay. Yes. Such cell is called flaccid cell. This is flaccid cell. Flaccid cell means normal cell. Isotonic solution means normal concentration, equilibrium, equal concentration. So there is no net movement of water takes place from beaker to cell or cell to beaker, vice versa. Such cell is called flaccid cell. In flaccid cell, psi p value 0. That is positive value. It is a normal cell, no pressure. Psi w value negative, approximately -9. Sorry, not psi w. Psi s value. Psi s value -9. And psi w value -9. Understood now? In flaccid cell, no pressure. There is no pressure. Where is pressure? No pressure. Because it is equilibrium. No net movement of water takes place from beaker to cell or cell to beaker. Hope you understood. Therefore, psi p 0. Psi s negative. Always negative, na? So, approximate value -9. Then psi w value obviously -9. That means what? In flaccid cell also psi w equals to psi s. Psi s. Therefore, psi w equals to psi s plus psi p. Very, very important. In object exam, definitely they will ask some numericals, simple numericals based on water potential and their relationship. Water potential, solid potential, and pressure potential, their relationship. Clear? In such cases, all of you use this formula. Psi w equals to psi s plus psi p. Enough. One simple problem for your clear understands. It is one chamber. One chamber. It is separated with cell membrane. Cell membrane. Okay. Cell A, cell B. Cell A and cell B. In cell A, psi s value, okay, psi p value psi p value 16 and psi s value -2. In cell B, psi p value 12 and psi s value -8 to -2. Okay. According to formula, what is formula? Psi w equals to psi s plus psi p. Okay. Go through first A chamber. Psi s value -8. Psi p value 16. Okay, therefore psi w equals to 8 MPa. MPa means megapascals, units. MPa, megapascals. Next, go through cell B. Use the same formula. Psi s value -2. Psi p value 12. That equals to 10 MPa. 10 MPa. Psi w equals 10 MPa. 10 megapascals. The movement of water takes place from where to where? That is the question. Psi s value in cell A. Psi w value 8 MPa. In cell B, psi w value 10 MPa. Now say where to where movement of water takes place? B to A. Cell B to cell A. Okay. Cell B has 10 megapascals and cell A has 8 megapascals. So water potential is high in cell B but low in cell A. According to osmosis principle, movement of water takes place from the region of higher water potential to the region of lower water potential. These types of questions frequently asking in objective exam, NEET and SET exams. Clear? Yeah. That is about water potential, solute potential and pressure potential. Three concepts completed. Next, osmosis. Osmosis. As I told just now, osmosis. Osmosis. The term osmosis different as movement of substances takes place from the region of higher water potential to the region of lower water potential along concentration gradient. That is called osmosis. One more definition: movement of substances or ions takes place from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration against concentration gradient. That is also called osmosis. Due to this reason, osmosis is a part of diffusion. A part of diffusion. It is easily explained by two simple experiments: potato spindle tuber experiment and a thistle funnel experiment. Right? In potato spindle tuber experiment, water movement takes place from beaker to tuber, beaker to potato tuber. Okay, then after some time period, sucrose solution, very simple concept. Take one beaker, cut a piece of potato tuber into cube shape, and make a slant cut at center. Then potato cavity is filled with solution like sucrose solution, sucrose or salt solution, your wish. Sucrose solution, an example. Then fill water in beaker. Fill water in beaker. It is normal water. Normal water. According to osmosis principle, movement of water takes place from beaker to potato tuber. Beaker to potato tuber. This is tuber. Potato tuber. So, movement of water takes place beaker to tuber in all directions. In all directions. Then after some time period, what happened? Sucrose solution become diluted and sucrose solution overflow into beaker. That indicates osmosis. Another experiment, thistle funnel experiment. Thistle funnel experiment. Is egg membrane is tied with thread, egg membrane. Funnel filled with sucrose solution, sucrose or salt solution, that indicates higher concentration. Then pour water into beaker, normal tap water, okay, right. Very simple concept. First take one raw egg, collect egg membrane from raw egg. Okay, you know that process. Take one raw egg, place in dilute HCl, hydrochloric acid. After some time period, outer shell diluted, dissolve in HCl. Then take rest of the matter, pinch and drain out yolk. yolk, yellow yolk, white matter, everything. Then collect empty membrane, wash it thoroughly. Then take one thistle funnel, fill with the sucrose solution or salt solution. Then close the mouth of funnel with the egg layer. That is equals to semi-permeable membrane, cell membrane. Okay. Then collect one beaker, fill with 75% of the beaker fill with normal tap water. Then funnel inverted, funnel placed in beaker as shown in the figure. As shown in the figure, upside down means inverted manner. Then what happened? Keep this entire setup at a place up to some time extent, approximately 3 to 4 hours. Then what happened? According to osmosis definition, movement of water takes place from beaker to funnel. Beaker to funnel. Because beaker has high water potential, whereas funnel has low water potential but high concentrated solution. Therefore, movement of water takes place from beaker to funnel. After some time period, sucrose solution become diluted and its level gradually increase in funnel. That indicates osmosis. These two experiments very important to understand the concept of osmosis. Clear? Understood? And one more NCERT book diagram. NCERT book diagram. It is one big chamber separated with semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane. Chamber A, chamber B. Solute particles. Okay, this is solute. Rest of the empty space filled with water. Membrane. Semi-permeable membrane. Chamber A, chamber B. These two chambers separated with the semi-permeable membrane, means plasma membrane. Both chambers has solution, but the number of solute particles are low in A chamber, high in B chamber. Based on this diagram, some questions, important questions given in NCERT also. All of you try to solve these questions. Try to give correct answer for these questions. Clear? Now first question, from where to where movement of water takes place? Chamber A to chamber B. Chamber A to chamber B. Because in chamber A, chamber A has higher water potential, but chamber B has low water potential. Why? Reason. Chamber A has low solute concentration and high water potential, but chamber B have high solute concentration and low water potential. Due to this reason, movement of water takes place chamber A to chamber B. Clear? Next, which chamber has low solute concentration? Answer: A chamber. Next question, which chamber has high solute concentration? Answer: B chamber. See, B chamber has large number of solute particles. One more question, which chamber has low water potential? Answer: chamber B. Chamber B. Because when solute particles number high means free energy of water molecule decrease. Therefore, water potential also very low in B chamber. Next, which chamber has high water potential? Answer: chamber A. Because chamber A has very limited number of solute particles. Therefore, chamber A has free energy of water molecule, more free energy of water molecule. Clear? That's all. These types of questions frequently asking in NEET objective exam based on diagrammatic representation. Very important. I am expecting at least one question from this experiment. Right? In NCERT book also, beside diagram, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 to 6 questions clearly mentioned. Try to give correct answer for these questions. That's it. Next concept, plasmolysis. Plasmolysis. Just before, just now I told what is plasmolysis. The process of shrinkage of cells when cell placed in hypertonic solution. That is called plasmolysis. In plasmolyzed cell, protoplast move away from its wall, from its cell wall. Therefore, pressure potential is 0, solid potential is negative, and water potential also negative in plasmolyzed cell. In NCERT book, 3 diagrams are there. I drawn just now here. First cell is plasmolyzed cell. Second one, flaccid cell. Flaccid means normal cell. And third one, turgid cell. Turgid means bulged cell. 3 diagrams, its concepts important. Okay. Remember, don't forget. In plasmolyzed cell, psi W value negative. Second statement. In flaccid cell, psi W value always negative. But in turgid cell, means bulged cell, psi W value is always positive. This is comparison between these 3 types of cells. Okay. Next, imbibition. Imbibition means an association between dry matter and liquid. Dry matter and liquid is called imbibition. Dry matter, example seed. Liquid, example water. Okay. Imbibant. Imbibant means dry matter. Dry matter, example dry seed, dry wood, dry sponge, etc. It is water, liquid. When any dry matter, best example dry seed or dry wood, when it make a deep association, deep contact with the water, obviously it pick up water. Bulge in size. Due to continuous accumulation of water, the size of the seed is increased, bulge in size. That result in seed germination also. In olden days, early man widely used this technique, imbibition technique, for breaking down of rocks and boulders. They took one big size wood, dry wood, and place in rocks, cracks of the rock or boulder, and they pour water. Then what happened? Dry wood absorb water, bulge in size. It creates pressure on rock. Therefore, rock or boulders break into small soil particles. Okay, it is the best example for early man, how they were broken big rocks and boulders. Understood now? Imbibant means a substance which make direct contact, or which is deeply imbibed with water. Imbibed means association. Okay, a substance which make deep association or deeply imbibed with the water, that is called imbibant. When imbibant is more, obviously more amount of water enter into dry matter, dry wood, dry seed or dry sponge, etc. Clear? That is called imbibition. Next to long distance transport. Long distance transport. Long distance transport. As I told in the beginning of this session, osmosis and diffusion applicable for only shorter distances, over shorter distances, but not for longer distances. But how tall trees pick up bulk amount of water, minerals, nutrients, enzymes, hormones, everything means through transpiration pull. Transpiration pull. Transpiration pull. Very important. First, what is transpiration? Transpiration means usually all plants except desert plants, rest of the all terrestrial plants liberate excess amount of water into surroundings in the form of vapor during daytime in presence of light. That phenomena is called transpiration. That means what? On one hand, plant liberate excess amount of water into surroundings. On the other hand, plant root system pick up bulk amount of water due to pulling effect. Pulling effect, because transpiration create pulling effect in xylem elements, trachea elements, xylem vessels and xylem tracheids. Therefore, xylem vessels and tracheids pick up bulk amount of water and minerals from the deepest layers of soil, at the same time with force transfer to over longer distances. That is called transpiration pull. Even along with water, not only water, along with water, nutrients, hormones and amino acids. Also translocated from root to tip of the shoot over several meters height through xylem elements like xylem vessels and xylem tracheids. Understood now? But a large amount of hormones translocated through phloem than to that of xylem. That is important. Don't forget. Okay. In such a way, movement of this all substances takes place root to shoot tip over longer distances due to pulling effect. That is called transpiration pull. Right? A general example, garden hose pipe. That is example for pumping of water from well to land, garden or land. Here water pump pick up water and pump into land. Next, suction through a straw. That is the best example for transpiration pull. Take a green coconut, cut it, take one straw, place in green coconut, suck coconut water through mouth. That is called sucking. Okay, so when we suck water, a bulk amount of water enter our mouth through straw. That is called pulling effect. The same example applicable for this phenomena. Okay, here straw equals to xylem vessels and tracheids. Plant pick up bulk amount of water from soil, that means suck water and transfer to over longer distances. That is called transpiration pull. Clear? Next, how do plant absorb water? Topic continuation. Very small concept. How do plant absorb water? There are two ways: apoplast pathway, and Simplast pathway. In NCERT book, two diagrams given clearly. Go through at least one of the diagrams. Epidermis, cortex, endodermis, pericycle, and xylem vessels. Xylem vessels. Okay. Apoplast pathway. So movement of water takes place through intercellular space, that is called apoplast pathway. If movement of water takes place through cells, then it is called Simplast pathway. Here, epidermis, cortex, endodermis, pericycle. Here endodermis has Casparian strips. That's it. So due to presence of Casparian strips, apoplast pathway eventually turn into Simplast pathway. It's very important. Apoplast pathway eventually turn into Simplast pathway. First epidermis to cortex to endodermis to pericycle to xylem vessels to stem to all other parts of the plant. Apoplast pathway. When movement of water takes place through intercellular space or between cell wall, that is called apoplast pathway. Simplast pathway means movement of water takes place through cells, that means through cytoplasmic stream, that is called Simplast pathway. There is a connection between adjacent cells called plasmodesmatal connections. Through plasmodesmatal connections, bulk amount of water translocated up to xylem vessels. Okay, the main point is presence of Casparian strips. It is made up of suberin, a waxy material. It is impervious to water. It won't allow water across it. Therefore, apoplast pathway eventually turn into Simplast pathway. From here to it is only Simplast pathway. Clear? Understood? That's it. Inside concepts. Next, root pressure. As all of you know very well, root pressure. Take one healthy potted plant, cut stem at base, remove rest of the plant, and take one manometer. It is a U-shaped pipe manometer. It has reading on the surface for measurement. So manometer fix with stump. Stump means cut base with rubber joint. Okay. Then pour water to the plant, means pour water to the pot. Keep this entire setup under sunlight up to some time extent. Then what happened? Plant root system pick up water. and transfer to stump, stump to manometer. Gradually in manometer water level increase, that indicates root pressure. How water move from pot to manometer means due to root pressure. First so it is a series of water molecules. First water molecule, second water molecule, 3, 4 and 5. Attraction between water molecules takes place. Attraction between water molecule takes place. It is water, H2O, water molecule. Look here, first water molecule, second water molecule, third, fourth, fifth. There is a mutual attraction between water molecules. So due to this attraction, fifth water molecule pushes fourth water molecule, and these two pushes third water molecule, this 3 pushes second water molecule, this 4 water molecules pushes first water molecule. Due to this reason, pressure created and exerted between water molecules inside the root, that is called root pressure. Even root pressure also applicable for shorter distances like diffusion and osmosis, but not for longer distances. Very important. That is about root pressure. Clear? Root pressure observed in some experiments like guttation. Best example, guttation. Okay. Guttation. Guttation example, grasses. And we can observe guttation during night or early in the morning. Bulk amount of water ooze out from the leaf apex. Okay, leaf apex has natural opening. Through natural opening, drop by drop, water ooze out. That phenomena is called guttation. So due to root pressure, guttation takes place in grasses. Guttation usually observed during night or early in the morning. That's it. Okay. Next, transpiration. Transpiration, guttation, similarities important. Difference is also important. Just now I told guttation. Guttation means a process of bulk amount of water ooze out from the tip of the leaf apex. Leaf apex is called guttation. So due to root pressure, guttation takes place in grasses. But transpiration takes place in dicot plants, mostly dicot plants. In presence of sunlight, plant release excess amount of water into surroundings in the form of vapor in presence of sunlight. That is called transpiration. In both the cases, plant lost its excess amount of water. That is similarity. But difference, transpiration takes place in presence of sunlight during daytime, whereas guttation takes place during night or early in the morning. This is differences. Okay, important, don't forget. Transpiration takes place through stomata. You know well, what is the structure of stomata? What are the different types of cells present in stomata? God cells, subsidiary cells, epidermal cells. Okay, structure of stomata in dicot leaf, structure of stomata in monocot leaf, shape of God cell, bean shaped God cell in dicot leaf, dumbbell shaped God cell present in monocot leaf. This whole concepts, mechanism, you know very well. So once roughly go through NCERT book concepts. I am expecting at least one question from this area. Transpiration and guttation. Root pressure also very important. Clear? Next, cohesion, adhesion and surface tension. Cohesion, adhesion, surface tension. Cohesion means attraction between water molecule. Adhesion means attraction between water molecule and polar surface. Attraction between water molecule and polar surface. This is polar surface. Polar surface. The best example, xylem vessels and xylem tracheids. Surface tension means attraction between water molecule is high in aqueous chamber than attraction between water molecule in gaseous medium. That is called surface tension. These three concepts are very important. Okay. That is about transpiration, guttation, cohesion, adhesion and surface tension. Transpiration, next topic continuation, last concept. Transpiration, photosynthesis, a compromise. A compromise. Transpiration, photosynthesis, a compromise. You know very well what is transpiration and what is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis also require water. Photosynthesis include two steps, light reaction and dark reaction. Light reaction again are of two kinds. Jet scheme of electron transport system means non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Another one, cyclic photophosphorylation. Particularly in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, plant require water. Here, water acts as a source of electron, supply electrons for PS2. In presence of sunlight, water molecule split into protons, electrons and oxygen. Electrons transfer to PS2, PS2 to PS1. Movement of electrons takes place from PS2 to PS1 through a series of electron carrier. Therefore, for photosynthesis it requires water. Through transpiration, plant release excess amount of water. At the same time, xylem vessels and tracheids pick up bulk amount of water. That water widely using in photosynthesis. That is a compromise between photosynthesis and transpiration. Clear? And very last concept. Plant root system. Plant root system pick up water and minerals. Suppose it is root. Soil particles. Water. Water pick up by the root through root hair. Root hair to lateral root. Lateral root to main root. Okay. But ions pick up by root through region of elongation. You know well, there are three regions in a root. Region of meristematic activity, region of elongation and region of maturation. Okay. Plant root system pick up bulk amount of ions through region of elongation. Entry of water into root, that is passive process. But entry of ions into root is either passive process or active process. Okay, both passive process and active process takes place in case of ions. Okay, sometimes passively ions enter into root, sometimes by taking metabolic energy ions enter into root. So entry of ions into root, that is both the passive process and active process. One very important neat objective point Remember, don't forget. And very last concept, mass flow hypothesis. Last 2 minutes, only 2 minutes. Mass flow hypothesis. Mass flow hypothesis. It's also called pressure flow hypothesis. Pressure flow hypothesis. Roughly go through diagrammatic representation. A simple NCERT book diagram. It is source, shoot, this is root. Okay. Sucrose. It is sucrose. Source. Source equals to leaf. Sieve tube. Sieve tube. Sugars means sucrose. Sucrose enter sieve tube and water follows by osmosis. So dots indicates sucrose. Sucrose enters sieve tube. It is active process, an active process. And water, even small amount of water also enters sieve tube. So water follows by osmosis. It is a passive process. It does not require energy. But entry of sucrose into sieve tube, that is active process. It requires metabolic energy in the form of ATP. Root, shoot. Sorry, shoot, root. This is shoot. It indicates root. Middle small gap is there now. That gap indicates root system separated from shoot system. Aerial part of the plant, underground part of the plant. That's it. Okay. So a bulk amount of food in the form of sucrose translocated to all parts of the plant. So movement of food is bidirection or multi-direction. Leaf to tip of the root, leaf to tip of the shoot, tip of the branch, etc. So movement of food is bidirection or multi-direction. According to NCERT book, bidirection. That's all. But movement of water is unidirection. That's it. Bulk amount of sucrose. Not only sucrose, apart from sucrose, minerals, nutrients, small amount of water, amino acids, and high amount of phytohormones. Phytohormones means plant hormones also translocated through phloem sieve tube in all directions. One very important neat objective point. Understood now? So sieve tube translocates not only sugars, along with sugars, apart from sugars, phytohormones, amino acids, and a small amount of water also translocated. Next, at the sink, sugar leave means sucrose leaves sieve tube. Water follows by osmosis. Entry of sucrose into sieve tube and leaving, these two means loading, unloading. These two are active process. That's all. This total mechanism first proposed by Munch, a famous scientist, Munch. Hence, it is also called Munch hypothesis or pressure flow hypothesis, also called mass flow hypothesis. That's all. These are the main points covered from this chapter, transport in plants. I am expecting minimum 2 questions and maximum 3 questions from this chapter. Dear students, watch this video properly, understand the concepts, then practice objective questions based on NCERT lines. Obviously, you will get the better score from this chapter. Thank you very much. See you. Prepare well. Have a nice day.